Hello, televiewers. You are more than welcome to join us on the very first edition of your favorite, your to-be favorite environmental program. Keep it green. That comes up every Thursday, when it clocks 3:30 p.m. in Buea, at the same time in the nation's capital city of Yaoundé. Today we have resource persons who are coming from the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development to talk to us about our environment. And I take the delight to welcome you on set for the very first time. Mr. Mbuya Francis is the Chief Executive Officer of Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development. You're welcome to the first edition of Keep It Green.
Thank you, Najee. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and you want to tell us what are we keeping green?
Okay, Keep It Green is an initiative of the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development. As the title is, Keep It Green is a way of sustainable living. We just concluded with a competition which was named Music for the Environment or Music for Sustainable Living, and the theme song had the title Keep It Green. And people asking, what are we keeping green? Keeping it green is just about the lifestyle, the way we do things. How can we enable that? We live in a sustainable world that we can have our resources today, and the people that are coming up after us enjoy the same resources. So Keep It Green is an interactive program that we talk about environmental issues, development challenges in our community, and most importantly, the challenges the young people are going through today. How do they actually enable that tomorrow they can be famous people or experts contributing to our society and not continue to cry about unemployment. So Keep It Green is a way of life, it's a way of living, it's how we can enable a successful or a sustainable lifestyle.
Indeed, and that is the very more why we are here today, to contribute our own quota to edifying you on your knowledge about your environment. And to equally, I take a delight to welcome you on set, Ms. Ida Nabila. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you, Najee. It's a pleasure to be here.
I understand this is not the first time we're meeting on air.
No, not at all. We've been here several times, especially for the Camel Green competition.
Okay, and this time around, you are taking hold of the environment,
Yes.
taking hold of the airwaves to edify our viewers on what the importance and the role we are expected to play as far as our environment is concerned.
Yes, this time around, we are here to promote a sort of peace between humans and the environment, as the program is titled Keep It Green. And most often when you hear green, what you think about is peace.
Okay.
The color green signifies peace. So here we're trying to promote harmony between humans and the environment in several aspects, in several domains.
Okay, in several aspects, in several domains. You two just tuning in now. You're watching the very first edition of Keep It Green. It's an environmental program that will be coming up every Thursday live from the studios of High TV to edify you on the importance and the role you're expected to play as far as our environment is concerned. Remember, we are talking about sustainable development, and I equally take a delight to welcome you on set, Mr. Dimo Sedgwick. You are an expert when it comes to environment and sustainable development. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Nanji.
And please, increase your pitch a bit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nanji.
Okay, and I understand this is the very first edition. What are we expected to have as core values in this program?
Okay. No, it's kind of a very interesting delight to be here to actually tell the televiewers more about the environment and sustainable development, to be specific. So I'll mostly be dwelling on the sustainable development aspect, linking it to natural resources and how we can sustainably manage our natural resources to make the best out of it without compromising the needs of the future generation.
Okay, without compromising the needs of the present generation. To make the cycle complete, we welcome Ms. Nasili Oka. She too is part of the business of environment. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And it's a pleasure to have you on the ITV today. And today we are talking about environment. What is your take as far as this concept, this whole concept of Keep It Green is concerned?
Actually, in line with my domain, which is natural resource management, it's all about empowering, most especially the youths,
to practice sustainable lifestyle on how to manage our resources in a conservable manner in such a way that we are guaranteed of resources both now and for the future generation.
Okay. And I want to believe you are going to be resourceful in the course of this program and even in subsequent edition of the program. I come back to you, the Chief Executive Officer of Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development. I understand that you guys have been contributing a lot when it comes to the sustainability of our environment. Last time you said you guys organized a music competition in which High TV was part of the whole show, using music to promote good environmental values. And today we have a platform where we can constantly and consistently talk to people on the importance and the role they have to play as far as our environment is concerned.
Yes, our environment is actually a very important component of our social living. When we talk about environment, most often people are often tempted to think that environment is just about the forest or environment is just about the trees. But environment is about our health. Environment is about our surrounding. Environment is about the food we eat. Environment is about the lifestyle we live. Environment is about even the light we put in our house. Is all about the environment. Okay. One of the things I want to emphasize is that if you're home and you don't have a good environment, it will be very unhealthy for you to live in, and you find yourself wanting to dash out of your house every minute here and there. And what causes the healthy environment is how we as an entire community collaborate in order to make it healthy. For instance, if I'm keeping my environment clean and the next door neighbor is busy throwing trash around the street, it's going to affect me. Though I'm actually putting in effort to make sure that I'm having a good environment, the other are actually contaminating it. So when we talk about environmental or keeping it green or environmental conservation, it's about collaborative effort. It's about each and everyone in the society. So that is what the Resource Center is out to promote. And we have a slogan which is sharing initiative and changing lives. It means that if you are adopting a sustainable strategy and you're able to share it out like what we are doing now, others can copy from it and it can affect so many lives.
Okay, it can affect so many lives. After all, there's no harm in copying the right thing. And you two watching the program, you can be part of the program by contributing through the number we shall be displaying in a moment on the screen. Maybe you have a question for our resource persons who are coming from the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development. I come to you, Ms. Nabila. I understand that when it comes to the environment, you are one of the managers of the environment, and you want to tell us what are some of the components. I understand Mr. Mbuya Francis has tried to throw more light about our environment. In the normal sense, what are you telling the old mother who is watching us in Tole about her understanding about the environment?
Yeah, the environment, in simple terms, it is our surrounding. Okay. It is about you and your surrounding. It is about your interaction with your surrounding. It is about whatever is around you. So the environment, naturally, it's made of, there is a natural environment, which is the natural resources that we have, that is given to us freely. We have stones, which are the unliving part of the natural environment. We have trees, we have water, and all that. So how you collaborate your lifestyle in relation to your environment is very, very important. How the health of your environment affects you in so many ways. It affects your way of living, it affects your health, it affects even food and everything. So how you collaborate with your environment, your interaction with your environment is really, really important. That's why Research has so many programs that it has put in place to be able to ensure a green lifestyle, as we call it, Keep It Green. So we have several projects. We have the capacity building program, which is there to empower youth, young professionals, to train them and empower them to be able to take on sustainable practices and to be able to carry out research in order to promote a healthy environment. Yeah, we also have the Natural Resource Management Program, which is there to ensure proper management of our natural resources, which my colleague will shed more light on. And we have the the Education for Sustainable Development Program. This program is here to educate people because, first of all, ignorance is a problem.
Okay.
If you don't know the problems you're facing, there is no way you're going to get a solution to those problems. And if you don't know the problems you're facing, or if you don't even know the solutions, it's a problem. So that's why Keep It Green is here, to be able to share knowledge. It provides a platform for knowledge sharing and for even questioning between we the stakeholders of the environment, so that we can share ideas and educate those who are not aware, and those who are aware and they have the solutions or they have contributions to these problems. It provides a platform for sharing of these solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a while ago, you said you guys have been organizing workshops to build the capacities of young Cameroonians. Who are those particular persons you do invite on those forums? Just anybody in the quarter, or particular persons who have a particular knowledge on the environment?
Capacity building, first of all, is to be able to train those who are not aware.
Okay.
Yes. So during our capacity building programs, anybody who is passionate about the environment or who is passionate about creating change is encouraged to come in to join us. Like recently, we just have a training. We had a training program a few weeks ago on Project Rising. Okay. There are so many youths out there who actually know the problems we are facing, but they have no idea on the solutions to put in place, or they might have a solution, but they don't really know how to put it in the right order to be able to create an impact. So we train these young professionals, these young minds with small ideas. We try to groom it to become big ideas, or to actually create the impact that is needed.
And if you're just tuning in, don't get it confused. You're watching the first edition of Keep It Green. It's an environmental program, one of to be flagship environmental program as far as programs on High TV Cameroon is concerned. We'll come back to you, Mr. Mbuya Francis. A while ago, I saw you cogitating. Are you trying to add on what?
Just to throw more light on our capacity building program. Okay. When we talk about capacity building program, it's more of an enlarged system rather than just a training session. Okay. We operate at the resource center in what we call a 3-phase program. First, we try to bring in, most especially young professionals from the university. They come into our organization as interns, and we try to train them on how to target major challenges of development, major challenges of the environment. And with that capacity, they can actually go out into the field and question what is actually the reality, because what you do in school or what you write on paper about climate change, about slash and burn agriculture, when you go to the field, it's obviously a different situation. Yesterday we were at Bonakanda. We're trying to run an integrated community development project there, where we're trying to bring into place all the challenges of local development and put them together in order to ensure that we can be able to manage on a platform. And the way some of the community members were extremely hostile. No, we don't believe on this issue of capacity building or training the people. What actually can you do? And if you're not aware on how the different stakeholders in the community perceive this development issue and how it is really affecting them, it's very difficult to cope on it. And we not only dwell on graduate, we also take it to the community, training them on how they can cultivate, they can practice farming in a way that can benefit the environment, and also in a way that they can generate more income of it, because a local person is not interested about the sustainability part of it, but interested in what is my gain inside. So trying to bring out that gain aspect is what the extra capacity we are bringing in our program.
Okay, your program. And Ms. Nasili Okan, we want to talk about the natural resource management. We understand that it's part and parcel of the environment. How do we manage our natural resources in order to suit our natural environment as well?
Yeah, in order for us to live a healthy life, or in order for us to be assured of life, we have resources that we can manage, and we therefore have to manage those resources sustainably. So the resource center is out there to empower the youth or everybody on how to use these resources in a reasonable manner, in such a way that you don't finish what we have now, but we guarantee that our future generation is going to have these resources as well.
Okay.
And as a result of that, due to developmental issues, there is this conflicting issues between development and sustainable development.
Okay.
So recently we look at sustainable development, which is proactive, and there have been some kind of complications in sustainable development. So as a result of that, there is this conservation problems.
Okay.
So most often conservation problems are context specific, and as a result of maybe
biodiversity.
Yes, but you have biodiversity. When we talk of resources, we have biodiversity, both the flora and fauna part of it. That's the plants, the animals.
Okay.
So different communities have their own different conservation problems, and therefore it should be tackled based on their locality characteristics. So therefore, the natural resource management has as vision to foster sustainable development, which is to explore best practices in these communities, to empower them on some of these best practices on how to use their resources in such a conservable manner, which guarantees not just sustainability of the resources, but equally our environment is conserved.
Okay. And right on. Maybe you still have something to add?
So for the objectives of this department, we as objectives, we have to develop, review and develop development plans for non-protected high conservation value forests related to natural resource conservation through transparency and accountability. We equally have as objective resource conservation through the lens of the local people. And under this, we have conservation education, which is educating the entire population on how to use resources in a reasonable manner. We equally have technical support for resource management. We have capacity building for local community, and we equally want to create village forest management committees that will ensure the smooth functioning and sustainability of these established high conservation value forests.
Okay, thanks very much, Ms. Nasili Oka. I come to you, Mr. Dimo Sedgwick. I understand when it comes to environment and sustainable development, you are a master in that domain, and you want to tell us the relationship between natural resource management and the environment and sustainable development. How do we merge these two concepts?
Thank you very much, Mr. Nanji. Mr. Nanji. Okay. I will not only dwell on the environment and sustainable development, by being the head of the department for the local development intervention at the Resource Center of Environment and Sustainable Development. I would just want to share more on what we do under this department. This department, we have as two major programs: agriculture for local development and women and gender. But I will mostly dwell on agriculture, which I will talk on the major projects that research is doing pertaining to this project, this program. We have this integrated community-led model that Mr. Mbunya Francis, the executive director, earlier talked on, in which we try to develop the community by identifying the community needs. After identifying this community needs, we'll try to bring out a plan of action in order to engage in the community development. So after identifying the community needs through stakeholder meetings, we identify the preference needs of the community. When that is done, we draft the needs into a plan in which it is being presented to that community. So in respect to what the community presents as their needs, we come out with a capacity building program in which we empower the local people on how they can tackle the need or how they can develop good project ideas to solve those pertinent problems. So that is what is mostly done under the local development intervention. Now, coming to the issue of concern, which is the environment and sustainable development, I would like to first of all make all the televiewers understand what sustainable development is all about. Sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the needs of the future generation. That is what we call sustainable development. And in sustainable development, you see that environmental sustainability is fundamental to sustainable development. We cannot talk about sustainable development without talking about sustainability. And sustainability is the ability to continue a defined behavior indefinitely That means to break it down so that the mama in Bonakanda and the people and the youth all around the university can understand. You see that for renewable resources that my colleague earlier talked about, the rate of harvest should not exceed the rate of regeneration. We talk about sustainable yield. The rate of harvest should not exceed the rate of regeneration for renewable resources.
Okay.
That we talk about sustainable yield. And which are those renewable resources that are existing that human beings are bound to exploit in order to meet these growing needs of the population? We have water. In water we have fishes, and fishes are renewable.
Okay.
Now, in sustainable development, integrating sustainable development into fishing, you will see that catch the fish, but don't deprive the other young ones from growing.
Okay.
That means that we need to set mesh sizes. Mesh sizes now are set with respect to maybe the sizes of the fish that is caught.
Avoiding depletion.
Avoiding depletion and avoiding the catching of smaller fishes which can regenerate to meet the needs of the coming generation. We are talking about sustainable harvesting.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to households, for the mother in Bonakana to understand, if you people are 5 in the house, right, and you want to go and buy food for the 5 persons, if a kilogram of maize can be sufficient for everybody, don't go and buy 10 kilogram. Okay. On preparing 10 kilogram, you will see that maybe each person is entitled to eating 3. We have 2 kilogram wasted and it is dumped. Whereas if you bought that which is sufficient for that household, there will be no wastage. We are talking about sustainable consumption. Okay. Now, when it comes to pollution, the rate of waste generation from projects should not exceed the assimilative capacity of the environment. That's what we're talking about sustainable waste disposal, right? That means under sustainable waste disposal, we talk about sustainable consumption, because there cannot be sustainable waste disposal if you don't know about sustainable consumption. And under sustainable consumption, we're telling people that the resource center is passing on a message that we should consume according to what is sufficient for everybody. You should not go and buy because your colleague is buying this amount as if it is a comparison. No, you'll be depriving another person from buying. Okay, if we have 5 oranges in the market, right, and you need just 3 for yourself, if you go and buy all the 5, whereas you will dump 2, the mother who needs just 1 of the oranges will not have access to it. We're talking about sustainable consumption. And for non-renewable resources that my colleague earlier mentioned, the depletion of the non-renewable resources should require comparable development of renewable substitute for that resource. That means if you are exploiting something, you are making provision for that particular resource to be available in time, so that it will not compromise the need of another person to also exploit that resource.
Okay, thanks very much. If you are just joining us, then you are watching the very first edition of Keep It Green, an environmental program that will be coming up on High TV every Thursday when it clocks 3:30 p.m. And today is a premiere of the program Baptism of Fire, and we are equally talking about how we can contribute our own quota to sustaining the environment. We understand that the environment is life, and that is why all of us have a role to play. It's a collective responsibility that is a role that all of us have to play. And we are reminding you just tuning into the program that you could be part of the program by contributing to the number you have on our screen, on your screen. And maybe at the end of the day, you would have been opportune to back home a communication airtime of 1,000 fans, and that I want to believe Cameroonians will like motivation. And you could be part of the program by asking valuable and informed questions that will going to give you better understanding of what our environment is all about. I come to you, Ms. Nabila. I come back to you as far as your domain is concerned. I understand that you are everywhere, but we are talking of a program that has specification and that everybody have a role to play. We are coming back to talk about the environment, and at one point in time you were talking about the different types of giving us different kind or different types of environment.
Yeah, as I said earlier, the environment in natural terms is just us and our surroundings,
okay,
and how we keep our surroundings. And first of all, there are 3 main types of environment. There is the natural environment, which is the natural resources which we have around us. We did not buy them, we just made them. Okay. That's trees, water, the air, that's our natural environment.
We're going to leave them.
Yeah, and we're going to leave them. We'll leave them for the future generation.
Generation,
So
okay.
that is why there is the need for sustainability, because we did not we just met them here. Other
Yeah.
people used them, they left it in a good condition for us. We came, we are enjoying these resources, which means there is a need for us to leave it in a better condition even.
Yeah, we should not misuse it.
We should not misuse it. There is also the built environment. The built environment is that which we have put for the comfort of ourselves,
Okay.
like houses, maybe pools, maybe even farmlands, agricultural land. That's built environment. This is what man has put in place to better off their needs, to fulfill their needs. That's the built environment. And sustainability still comes in this aspect, because you have to watch out how you go about your built environment, how you construct in order not to deplete our natural environment completely. There is also the socio-cultural environment. This is what the physical environment which we were brought in, the culture which we grew up in. Maybe there are several cultures. There are some people who have sacred forests. That's a cultural environment. Our languages even is our cultural environment. So we have to be aware of all these kinds of environment. So when we talk about sustainability, even the cultural environment is concerned, the built environment is concerned, the natural environment is concerned. Because, for example, there are some people who are identified because of their culture,
Okay.
which means in this case we have to also put in place strategies to conserve this cultural environment. Because if we lost our culture today, tomorrow our kids will just be lost. They will not know what their ancestors were doing or what kind of languages or practices they were in, which means it's important in this case to conserve all these types of environment, as we see.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, our environment, first of all, the Earth's environment is a very beautiful one, I must confess, and I'm sure everybody out there has seen it and can testify. We have fresh air, really natural, clean air. We have water, fresh water. I'm
Just
sure
that
when
I'm
we go
pretty
to-
sure by one point in time, some of these natural resources we are talking about, they are being treated by us humans.
Yes, that's
If
the
you
thing.
talk about clean water, by the time we have waste from
Yeah.
companies. We have even the most trumpeted talk about climate change.
Yes.
We have other things that are threatening the very existence or the very existence of this
Of the environment. That's the thing. We came and met it very beautiful, but now the environment is in trouble. It's in problems because of our activity. It's facing a lot of issues these days. For example, there is the issue of overpopulation.
Population, yeah.
Yes, population growth nowadays, there's estimated 8 billion people in the world today.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is estimated that each year 80 million people increase to this number, to this population, which means it now brings pressure on our natural resources.
Okay.
If there are those many people, then how will they manage the limited resources that we have to sustain all of them and sustain the generation to come? So this is a great call of concern, a great call for concern.
Okay.
Yeah, and the demand for food produces is high. The demand for natural resources is increasing per individual. Because at first, maybe in your household, just a square meal, maybe fufu corn and vegetable will be enough. But nowadays, that's not enough.
That's not enough,
You need
yeah.
fufu corn and vegetable, you need bananas, you need yogurt after that, you need cake, you need even mineral water.
Yeah, what, okay.
So how many people will be able to afford
Afford.
this? And also increase in technology and maybe livelihoods still creates pressure on these natural resources. Because someone who was first of all satisfied with their fufu corn, tomorrow they see Naseli, she's eating cake, and then as soon as you get small money, you also want to eat cake. Yeah, you want to eat cake, you want to eat hamburger, you want to eat everything. So that is a great problem. There is the problem of climate change too.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, so climate change normally it's a phenomenon that happens every estimated 30 years.
Okay.
And this is contributed by the amount of by the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And one of the most dangerous greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, okay.
And our activities today has caused a lot of emission of this greenhouse gas. And as these greenhouse gases are emitted, they cause the the cloud, the ozone layer, causing a lot of heat in our Earth's atmosphere. And most people are complaining nowadays there's a lot of heat in Buea.
Buea, that used to be almost like a temperate region.
Yes.
But today people they are crying foul.
See, I came in and met you here in Haiti, you're fanning yourself.
Yeah, in those days.
Normally that
right.
didn't used to happen, which means something is happening somewhere.
You're right.
Our activities are affecting our environment, and it is making us uncomfortable. So it is high time that we did something about it. And there are even other countries where maybe it's almost impossible for them to take satellite images because of the accumulation of these gases. There is even estimated 3 kilometers thick of gases or cloud above India because of accumulation of these gases. And you can imagine the amount of heat that this is going to cause, heat strokes, causing floods in other countries, causing famine in other areas.
Okay.
Which is, yes.
Mr. Nancy, okay, I want to add something.
Yes,
I understand that.
I would like to add something. As she has earlier said about the environment and some of those negative practices that we carry out that destroys our environment unknowingly. First and foremost, this environment has great role to play. There are several importance from this environment. The first thing is that our environment is our primary home. Even though we have houses, but our environment is our primary home and it's the only home we have. Okay. So imagine that you destroy your environment. Where are you going to be tomorrow? So taking also the fact that
it's $1 million question.
It's $1 million question.
So also considering the fact that our environment supplies to us ecological services. And what are these ecological services? We have 4 of them. Okay. The first is the provisioning services. Our environment supplies us with the food we eat to live, supplies us with the water we drink, we use for domestic purposes. Our environment equally supplies us with firewood, supplies us with biofuels, supplies us with fossil fuels. So we see there is this need for us to actually conserve our environment, or rather start rethinking of some of these negative practices to change them into positive practices due to these provisioning services. Imagine that you destroy your environment and tomorrow then you don't have any food to eat. It's going to be terrible. We equally have the regulating services. Okay, we have the trees which are there that sequesters carbon, that absorbs carbon. Today there is this great problem of climate change, not just in Cameroon but everywhere.
Even deforestation.
Yes.
Deforestation, I beg your pardon.
It could, like when back then in UB, my days in UB, it used to be very cold. In the morning when we had morning classes, we saw people dressed in thick pullovers. But nowadays, even in the peak of the rainy season, you hardly see somebody dressed in thick pullovers. They are wearing.
Even in rainy season, we have occasional rainfall.
So we have that regulating services of the trees sequestering carbon, reducing the effects of climate change. We equally have the hydrological cycle, which endeavors that there is this continuous supply of water. Okay, now in Buea there is a problem of water crisis. We have a lot of water problems. But back then, we used to open our taps and the pressure was really high. I could hardly open my tap to the last part of it. But now you can open your tap or you roam all over the streets of Buea. You see children, women, men hovering around with containers in search of water. So it's high time we start rethinking of some of these negative practices. We equally have the cultural services, which is the beauty of the environment. Like you go to the natural site, it's actually relaxing. You can be going through stressful moments, but just you visiting, looking at the trees or hearing the birds sing, it relieves you of some of the stress. Then we equally have the supporting services. So we can see that the environment, we should not just take it as a place where we just live, but reconsider that it has a lot of importance to us, and we should therefore live in collaboration with it and implement those best practices. So
implement those best practices. You to just tuning in. You are watching the first edition of Keep It Green. It's an environmental program. that is coming from our studio here in Bunjuma, Buea, Southwest region of the country. Before we catch our breath, Mr. Dimo Sedgwick, a while ago, Ms. Naseli Oka was saying that we are facing the problem of water in Buea. How do we solve this issue? Because as a resource center for environment and sustainable development, we should be looking for ways and means to keep this increasing rate of water problem, especially in the town of Legendary Hospitality.
That's actually very true. You see, for a problem as such, water, to be solved, we need to engage in asking the community what the trend in the water resource which has been in that community before.
Okay.
Is it that water was existing before water got dry? Or water was not existing at all? Because when we start to find out some of these trends in water availability, that is when we can know when to intervene and how to intervene. Is it that water was existing and somebody just came and built a house and destroyed the water? Or is it that water was existing and somebody started dumping dirt in the water and it was uninhabitable and later on it just dried? The problem of water is a problem in the whole of Buea. The problem of water is a problem in the whole of Buea. And many people...
I'm not in only Buea.
Yeah.
Even
Not
areas
world
where we find water, there's still water problem. And my brothers and sisters who are watching us from Bakassi, they will tell us that even though they are surrounded by swamps and whatsoever, they still have water. The other day, they were interviewed on national video. They said their first problem is water, their second problem is water, their third problem is water, their fourth problem is water. Water everywhere, we still have water problem.
Yeah, actually, it's really a problem to be looked upon. It's a call for concern. Not only the NGOs, because we are playing a part to tell the public what these problems are, and we cannot solve it on our own. And it is high time we meet as a community, with also government stakeholders being involved in it, to see how we can brainstorm together to put a lasting solution to this water crisis.
Yes, I was in a layman way of thinking. I was proposing to the councils around, since we have water problem, why should we not embark on digging boreholes? In every, like in Bunjuma, we'll have at least one borehole. In Moliko, we'll have about 5 boreholes, so that we solve this issue of water once and for all, Mr. CEO.
Yeah,
I understand that you have the pedigree to lobby for funds, to liaise effort with other external partners to see to it that this come to fusion. It might sound like a fairy tale, but we can do it.
Okay,
yes, we can.
That might sound like the right solution we need, but I'm afraid that may actually not be the solution we need.
That's why I say I was using a layman's way of,
if you look at how development project work in a nutshell, or how development intervention work, we're just analyzing the issue of Bonakanda, issue of water in Bonakanda yesterday, and there have been a couple of funding in tens of millions to support them with water, but what happened was the strategy was wrong. And first of all, they did not take local knowledge into consideration.
At one point in time, some of the funds are swinging into personal pockets.
Yeah, those are some of the issues.
A situation here, we have had gigantic projects in Buea. I used to tell people that Buea is thirsty.
Yeah, those are some of the issues. So I think what we say, keeping it green or keeping it real, if we want to look at the problem of water, is not because of lack of the availability of water, but it's because of the mindset we have that are trying to contribute to solving this water issue. First of all, for instance, if we take a water project to maybe Moliko, for instance, the first thing is that there will be a scramble for where the borehole will be.
No, I was saying that a place like Moliko, we can have even 10 boreholes only in Moliko.
Yeah, we can have even 10. But you see, one of the challenges that will come in will be
public squares, not necessarily private.
Will be the interest among the stakeholders. And in development issue, you see that powerful stakeholders that always try to win the project to themselves without actually thinking about the wider interest. So if first of all start by us looking at the general benefit of the environment before thinking about the selfish interest that we have in this aspect.
We shall be coming back to have indication that we have to catch our breaths, and when we come back, the program continue. The program you are watching is Keep It Green. It is the first edition coming to you from our studio in Bundumabuya, Southwest region of the country. If you are just joining us, then you could be part of it as well, contributing through the number you have on your screen and on our screen. Stay with us. We shall be back.
Green, first edition. Come on. I'm breathing the air. I'm eating the fish. I'm drinking the water. We gotta save the world. Yeah. Think about the people of tomorrow. For what we do will echo till tomorrow. Let's put our hands together, heal our earth together, plant more trees and save the earth.
So let's stand together as one, to make a change, to make it green, to make it green.
Let's clean up the streets and make it beautiful. Plant more trees, save the earth. Hey, together we can change the world. Hey, I know you and me, we gon' make it. Let's do it like a family. Plant one tree, I plant another one. Let's make the earth a better place. You know I can do it alone. No. You know I can do it alone. No. Nobody can stop this. Let's do it for the next generation. Malaria, they do me. Cholera, they do me. Oh, because what I don't spoil. Oh, dirty for backside, it don't tire me. Oh, but now me and you go fix
Keep
some
it
more.
green, like it's never been. Look within, you'll see. So says Gamma Green.
Mama them, papa them, this love story for one man day. Make a pen and pass together, make a put the hands together, make we do the things together. Come on, let's work in harmony.
Asina kekele indalo, sivi kele itlata. Nesis luani sensele, isusu kuluani setu esisayo.
Pourquoi couper les forêts africaines? Maintenant l'on se plaint de la famine, la chaleur. Les forêts africaines, américaines sont les poumons de la terre.
Sangana poesalo, yelangina kovanda. Poto zanga yelokote, namokilia biodiversité. Keep it green, like it's never been. The world see the unseen. So says Gamma Green. Keep it green, like it's never been. Look within, you'll see. So says Gamma Green.
Yeah, the take-home message is keep it green. We got it from that musical interlude there, that no matter what we do, we should keep it green. If you are just joining us, then you are watching the first edition of Keep It Green. It's an environmental program that comes up every Thursday on High TV when it clocks 3:30 p.m. We are coming to almost the later part of the last lap of the program, and we shall be asking the very important question on some of the services that the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development. I begin with the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Mbuya Francis. First of all, the first question I'll ask is that what makes the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development different from other non-governmental organizations that have the same vision like your organization?
Okay. What makes us different is that we focus on the concept of sustainable development.
Okay.
And sustainable development means that we try to keep it real to the local people. When we go to the local people and we say, no, don't cut down the tree, what else do you want them to do? If you're preaching that don't dump on the water, what are the alternatives? So what makes us different is that we try to use an integrated approach. Why acknowledging there is a problem, at the same time we are also focusing on the solution.
Okay.
And one of the biggest challenge into environmental issue, into development issue, is the lack of capacity. Not the lack of capacity of those who are implementing, but the lack of capacity of the general public, which is one of the rationale why we came up with the project Music for the Environment,
okay,
where we could bring out sensitization in such a way that you can even lie on your bed and you're listening to sweet melody on how you can contribute to this aspect of environment.
Okay.
So what makes us different is that we try to think solutions that are real, that the people are able to accept, not just seeing it as a change of a lifestyle, but an integrated part of their lifestyle, and seeing the rationale on why they should do it and how it is going to benefit others. So at the end of the day, while doing it, they fee for feed. So we spend much of our time looking at these innovations through capacity building, through research, and through project actions.
And without necessarily being biased, I subscribe to that, because for my whole life, that's my first time to come up with that kind of initiative, that a non-governmental organization like yours organizing a musical festival to conscientize, sensitize, mobilize the public, telling them that this environment is for all of us. I come to you, Ida Nabila, and you want to tell us some of those, you want to put your finger on some of those areas that your organization stands tall and proud as far as the sustainability of our environment is concerned.
Yeah, one main problem that our environment faces is the problem of waste.
Okay.
Waste is being generated every day. There's no day that you don't generate waste. So we have this project of ours, One Less Plastic, which is here to try to reduce the amount of plastic waste on the streets of Buea.
Okay.
This One Less Plastic initiative tries to, if you look at most of the streams in Buea here, you find them flooded with a lot of plastic bottles.
Okay.
You find them flooded with papers. You see our trash cans are full, plastics everywhere. So we try to reduce the amount of these plastics, because we know plastics are non-biodegradable.
Okay.
If they are buried there, they remain there forever. So we carry out cleanup campaigns where we pick these plastics off the streets, we take them to the recycling company so that they can be recycled into other products. Yeah,
okay.
we also have trash to treasure program.
And recycle from waste to wealth.
Yeah, waste to wealth, trash to treasure. You take something that is waste, that is trash,
To
make
wealth.
it treasurable. You convert it to something that you can use. So we train students. Like yesterday, where we secondary school students, training them how to convert even trash papers to photo frames. You will be amazed on the amount of things that you can produce from what you consider as waste. So what we are trying to tell the public is that, in fact, there is nothing, if you want to, there is nothing that you can consider waste. There is always something that you can do out of what you consider waste. And we try to encourage the public that you should look at means of reusing whatever you consider waste. If you have maybe you have a pen that you don't use anymore, you use the pen and it's finished, there is something that, rather than buying fresh flowers from the market, you can use this to produce flowers for your house. So that's what we we build capacity of other people on. So this is where to reduce the amount of garbage that is found on our streets of Boya. Yeah, and the public can also partake in this. Yeah, not only Boya.
Southwest is not only Boya.
Yes.
Cameroon is not only Boya.
It's not only Boya.
I mean, we'll make it a national campaign.
Yeah, and videos of our activities will be played here so that viewers can actually see what we do with the trash and also copy it at home. So they can also contribute. They can also contribute with us by joining us for our cleanup campaigns, and our head office is at Chief Street, Bomaka. So they can always contact us there to volunteer to join us during our cleanup campaigns. And they are also advised to carry their plastic waste to the recycling company in Limbe. So at least our streams and streets should be clean.
Okay, our streets and our houses should be clean. I come to you, Ms. Nasili Oka. We are almost putting the cap. We are almost having a wrap up from this end, but you want to tell us more specifically some of the nitty-gritty and how the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development have been addressing some of the natural, or have been managing some of the natural resources. Practically speaking, without not being theoretical or following just models. Practically speaking, what is your organization doing?
Bomaka Chief Street.
Okay.
Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development.
Okay. Has done what?
We are currently under the Natural Resource Management. Actually, we are currently running two projects.
Okay.
The first is in the Letia Tanu, which is we want to boost in situ conservation by mapping out this forest corridor.
Okay.
The reason for this is because we have identified that this forest block has rich biodiversity, not just for the floral part, but the fauna part, especially the critically endangered primates. That is the chimpanzee and the gorillas. Yes. So there is a project which is currently going on to save our biodiversity, especially the primates. We equally have the project running along the Cross River water area, which is improving ecological corridors for the Cross River gorilla by establishing community forests with the locals there. So it's to improve ecological corridors for these Cross River gorillas, that they have the free access of migrating. Yes,
and
so
at
they
one
could be
point
that
the
exchange.
gorillas went missing. At one point in time, there was a manhunt for that. At one point in time, we were on the news. Some of the gorillas they went missing.
They actually never went missing. They were hiding.
Okay, they were hiding. Okay.
Yes, they were hiding from those bushmeat eaters, the hunters.
Okay. Wow.
So as a means of conserving them now, reason why Research has actually developed this initiative, which is currently running, mapping out these areas which is going to be prohibited for the locals to encroach into this area. That way we are sure in the nearest future there is going to be an outflow of this primate species and equally plant species.
Mr. Cedric Dimo, practically speaking, you say the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development is leaving no stone unturned when it comes to the environment and how it is being sustainably sustainably developed. Put it that way. At least my knowledge in high school geography is still there.
It's still exploring. Actually, Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development stands distinct in its field of agriculture for local development intervention. And in its manner,
have you been working with some royal farmers?
Yes, I will go down to that. In its manner and approach of implementation. So how do we stand distinct? We are currently running the integrated community-led model in Bonakanda community, in which the strategy that we are using to implement such is quite different and makes us stand distinct. Now in this community, we are looking at how we can empower the people. We can empower the people in the area of agriculture and also try to open a form of a community canteen to enhance marketing in the community. In which case, when the villagers bring their produce from the farm, they have a storehouse where it can be stored and marketed, and it will also enable the community to have access to increased income. Imagine that in the community, the last time we visited the community, all of them are farmers. and all of them bring their produce from the farm and
Nigerian,
place it in the market,
Nigerian-
and expecting that
Nigerian
only those in the
community.
community should buy is actually not very possible.
Okay.
Yes, because if all of you are suffering from lack of income, who will be able to buy what? It stands to be really a problem.
Okay.
Because if I'm producing vegetable and I don't have money expecting to sell, you are producing yam expecting to sell, and both of us are in the market. Who will buy what?
What?
So
Okay.
all of us will lack money to buy.
And we are telling our viewers that in the subsequent edition, some of the farmers will be speaking to us on the program.
Yes, they will be speaking to us quite well. Now, in this model, empowering the local community on methods to develop in order to increase yam production, because yam production is one of their priorities.
Okay.
So in that we are still working with the community. After the implementation plan is drawn up, we are trying to look at how we can increase their capacity on how to boost agriculture and also how to market their goods and services to increase income and reduce poverty levels and hunger in the community.
Yeah, we are almost putting the cap. We are almost moving out of the studio. Your remark and what prospects for the Resource Center for Environment and Sustainable Development as far as their projects are concerned?
Our projects are really sustainable, and I believe Bonakanda will not only be limited. We are going to expand to other communities in Boya, and resource will be known everywhere.
Okay, we'll take this to action. Great job, little sister Ida Akopta. I'd like to know if we if we take care of our plastics for recycling, will it give us a little something? She's asking a question. I don't know who is reacting there, but it's on that note we are almost coming to the end of the program. Ida, we are almost putting the cap. At least putting a pause, given that we continue subsequently in the days ahead.
Yeah, but yes, if you take your plastics to the recycling, there is definitely something you're going to get out of it.
Okay. So we are moving out of the studio. Your remark as far as this first edition of Keep It Green.
Yeah, viewers out there, stay tuned to Keep It Green. This is a platform for knowledge sharing. You are opportune to contribute to this program, to get your knowledge out there, to ask questions as much as you want. We are here to stay, and we hope to make the impact that we are here today.
And you guys have come to stay.
We have come to stay. We are here to stay.
Okay, Ms. Nasili Oka, we are putting the cap.
Yes.
Talk to millions of Cameroonians who are watching you, talks to Africans who are watching you beyond the frontiers of Cameroon. What is that message? That's take-home message.
We should all be environmental activists because we all live in our environment. So the environment is not just for research, it's not just for Nasili, it's for you equally. So don't just say this environmental crisis or conservation problem should be tackled by resource or Daulatin. No, in as much as you are part of the environment, because the environment is not just the stone trees, it includes even man. So you should all be environmental activists. That way we are guaranteed of a sustainable environment and equally fostering sustainable development.
Thanks very much, Ms. Nasili Oka. And we put the cap with the Chief Executive Officer. Somebody said that Jesus started with prayer and then with prayer. We started the program with the Chief Executive Officer and we are ending with the Chief Executive Officer.
Okay, thank you, Najee, for this great program. I want to tell the public this program is your program. If you want to participate, if you have a burning idea on how we can change the environment and you really want to share it to the world, contact us. You can come to our head office at the Chief Street, Bamaka. Okay. You can contact us through our Facebook page. Just go to Facebook, type Recess Cameroon. You can contact us on our website. Our contacts are there. Just write to us, say, I want to be part of your program, and we'll bring you on board this program. Okay. It is every Thursday, and subsequent program will be more interactive, where we will give the public the opportunity to contribute and also win a lot of prizes. We'll be having subsequently great prizes in the subsequent edition. And on this note, I just want to say the lone participant that sent an SMS is the winner of the airtime credit. So she should be expecting.
The person did not send his or her name, but maybe I don't know whether
the number is there. So we are hoping the
next time we'll caution her, because next time if she fumbles, I'll take the airtime.
So I just want to thank our viewer, and you can always support us. Know more about our program. We have internship opportunity, we have training opportunity. You can contact us, and together we can actually make a better world. Thank
Mr. Mbuya Francis, Chief Executive Officer of Resource Center for Environment Environment and Sustainable Development, putting the cap on this very first edition of Keep It Green that comes up on High TV every Thursday when it clocks 3:30 p.m. in Bowie. I want to thank Mr. Dimo Sedgwick. I want to thank Ms. Oka Nasili. I want to equally thank Ida Nabila for their time, taking time off their busy schedule to sensitize the public on the whole and the importance they should attach on the environment. The program was produced by Ms. Nkwan Kindness Production Assistant Tola Colonel. The program was coordinated by Leonard Kum, generally supervised by Eno Humphrey Ayok. They all heartily join me, Gerard Nigeria, the anchor in the Bunduma Boya, and say thanks for your time, and we say keep it green, keep it real. Bye for now.
Green, first edition.